Hello everyone, it's Rees at Over Farm. I am just out with our new pumpkin planter out on the farm today. It's rather exciting. So it's a new to us tractor, new planter, a new GPS system, and we've got some lovely pumpkin plants going in right here with the team planting them. As you can see, if you look around here, you can see this is what the GPS achieves. It's these beautiful straight rows, which is kind of exciting. Makes all that work that you saw me doing on the channel, putting the GPS in, worthwhile. So we've got the two guys on the back here putting the pumpkins in. Obviously got these plants here that are grown in plugs compost, and they get dropped down into the planter, and they go down and they're deposited in the soil. See if I can get a shot here of that. Is it going to focus? There we go. So they get planted and they come out between the wheels, get squished in, and get a slug of water on each one. It's exactly the same happening on the other side as well. We've also got some fertiliser going on there. You can see that coming onto the plants, and that comes out of this hopper here. Look there. And they just trickle down. That just trickles down the pipe and goes down in front of where the plant's planted. I thought I'd show off the old planter as well while we're at it. So this is the old one that we used to use. We used to blank off everything but one cup, and they go through there and do much the same thing. Smooth the soil around it as it went. So I think this one is now redundant. We're probably looking to sell it. So this whole field, I hope the wind's not too bad. This whole field is going into pumpkins. You can see some of the plants along there already. Done what's called the headland, which goes all around the field, and you might just be able to make out the colour changes there where we've planted so far. Then we've got to go and do further than that across the field, which is quite exciting. This is the nerve-wracking time of the year, because getting all these in, making sure they're looked after, making sure that they don't die, because that's got to kind of suck. So far we've done 2 runs on the cultivator out here, power harrowed twice. That gives us this nice sort of soft seed bed to go into. This part of the field's not too bad. There's a few bigger clods which are breaking down all right now, but it's dry. It is so dry. We've had so little rain. We're going to have to get the irrigator out on this. We have forecast rain. Thought we were going to plant it into rain. Now there's a heat wave forecast. It's 20 degrees now and breezy. It's just desiccating any moisture that's here, which is a real pain. But what can we do? At least the sun's shining, I suppose, and people are in the farm park enjoying themselves there. So there's swings and roundabouts to the good weather. So you can see if you look back on the tractor, you can see where we've got the GPS on the top. Just if I come back closer now, it's probably a bit far away. It's up on the top there, that's why I fitted it all. Pete's just looking at the screen, staring wistfully at it at the moment. We'll go and have a look now and see what's going on in there. How's it going in here, Pete?
Yeah,
happy?
all good. Everything's doing it as it should be.
They're just showing off the screen there. Sorry, get in your way. So the tractor's just following the orange line there, and the green is all the stuff that we've done. And we're purposefully leaving those white gaps are where the sprayer will go to spray the fungicides on later on, or any insecticides or sub pellets to keep the pumpkins healthy. And that's Pete's view from the back of the tractor there. And then he doesn't even have to hold the steering wheel.
Easy.
So it all does it itself. So that's that antenna in front of us, that white box, the steering wheel, and the monitor. And so you can just see it's doing little twitches all the time, and you see it. Can't really see it. I can see it clearer on there. The GPS is making little corrections all the time. You can feel a slight shudder. There we go. If I look on that, that's going to stop now. It's stop, but you can just see the tiniest movements on the steering ram there. So we're just swapping around now. digging the seed out the fertiliser box. So this planter can do both. It can do both the plug plants and it can do seeds. So we can drop the seeds into these as well, because they'll hold there in there and they'll drop and give it the same amount of water for the seeds. So now we're stopped, you can just actually get in there and see. Can we get the camera in there? You can see how that's how the seeds or the plug plants drop in. Those jaws open, drops the seed or plant in there with the fertiliser, goes down in between the wheels, and then you get left with the plant behind it where it gets smoothed over and gets a bit of water. And then the water just it's just actuated by this valve here. Just gives it a nice little drop of water on there, which is kind of nice. God, it's windy today. We had to get an extra pump on here, which we didn't have before, so this is just like what you get in your caravan there. So that takes water from the bottom of that tank under the tractor all the way via a pipe, which I've just spotted is hanging down. So I'll have to get that sorted out in a sec. This tank's been a bit of fun. We've got Tedwood welded it up. This has given way a bit. You can see it's drooped. If I hold it, you can see the angle it's pulled down. So I had to do some repair welding yesterday, which really isn't, it's not very good, but it'll hold us out for the rest. I think we're gonna have to weld some gusset plates or something on there to hold that going forward. You live and learn. Right, so now we're off again with the seeds, going over to seeds. So Pete's just checking they're all right. Oh, shove that one in. Give him a home, make sure he survives. And then we're just dropping the seeds in to each one. So yeah, we can do both types of this, and the advantage with this is we get a bit of risk, bit of mitigation. So we get some in plugs, some in seeds, because I've had quite good success with seeds, but I'd prefer to have some plug plants in as a bit of a measure, or a bit of a cover against any problems we get with the seeds. And then for squash especially, we found last year that the seeds the last 3 years, the seeds just haven't done very well. Pumpkins are a bit more vigorous plants. They'll grow better from seed, and we just struggled a bit with the seeds in squashes. And when we don't plant very many of them, we can't just plant more and hope that they do better. So we're going to do more plug plants in squash this year and see how we get on. Although, having said that, I don't quite know what's happened this year. I've spoken to the plant propagators. They've turned up their disease to high heaven. I've never seen anything like it. I put some fungicide on them when they're on the trays to try and rescue them. The new leaves are coming. Those ones we just planted there are looking really good. I'm probably not in the right part of the field to show you. So these are the first true leaves here. This is the cotyledon. Sorry, the first true leaf would have been this one. This is the second now, and the third is just coming out in there somewhere. And the ones that were covered in like fungus, these leaves were dead. The cotyledons are gone, and some of them were completely rotted out. There was nothing left. But the first true leaf, which looked more like this, if I pretend that the first actual true leaf is gone, the first true leaf on the dead ones was really coming back strong. So yeah, I don't know what had happened there. I guess we'll find out. These are looking very wind beaten. Like this one's dying already. It's not had a great start. It's dried out. It's really, really bad condition to be planting. I spent a long time planning, like delaying until we had some good forecasts. Because what I usually do is go, okay, we need the soil temperatures to be warm, so which they are. If you stick your hand in, you can feel there's nice warm temperature there. The night tide temperatures are dragging it back down a bit, but the sun in the day is helping. And then look for either moisture in the soil, so beforehand. So if we've had rain beforehand, that's fine, we don't need to worry. Or if we've got rain forecast after, that's fine. What we really don't want, and what I've done before, is rain forecast after, lots of rain and cold weather, because the seeds just rot, they don't germinate. If we get warm weather and rain and then there's cold after, the seeds will germinate, and that's fine. Then they'll sit there looking sick, but what they won't do is if it's cold and wet, they just won't germinate, then the seeds rot and that's game over. So it's a little bit frustrating that the forecast has shown rain and we have missed it. It's rained all around us. It's rained up north, down south, to the east, west, but we've literally just sat in this annoying hole every time the rains come over. So although we got this lovely kit and it's all very exciting to see it going in, we are not putting them into the best conditions, and we're going to have to rely on our irrigator, which I'll go get a shot of in a minute, and I'll do some videos maybe of us setting that up. So challenging times indeed, and as you can see, these ones look really, really rough, and I don't think these are getting enough water as they're going in. I think maybe that pump is possibly not strong enough, or I need to change the settings on it a bit. We'll go maybe have a look at that in a minute. So chemical wise, what we're doing on here, pre-emergence, we spray glyphosate on to kill the weeds. So you can see, let me find one that's dying off. So this is one that's been sprayed glyphosate. So pull that out, it's gone, that is dead. We also do a pre-emergent mix of a couple of chemicals that go on, and that is like a blanket on top of the soil. That any new weeds that try and come up, now little sort of tiny little things come through, will then die. But it doesn't affect the pumpkins very much. It does give them a little bit of a stunt. The issue we've got here is that they require really a bit of moisture in the topsoil to bed in and be washed in nicely with rain afterwards, which was forecast. So I sprayed it thinking we were getting this rain. It's not come. So that's probably a couple of grand's worth of chemicals at least that we put on that are not really going to do very much. So the backup is, with the GPS, we've got a steerage hoe to mount on the front. That's been modified. This is the old steerage hoe that's been modified by Ted to go on the front linkage of the GPS tractor. So it used to go on the old 4000, which was very difficult to steer because you had to be very accurate. So hopefully with GPS, this is the aim anyway, we'll be able to drive up and down every other road, a bit like the band sprayer, and take out the weeds without chemicals initially, as long as the soil conditions are right. Very dependent on soil conditions, this one. If it's too like the soil's capped, it doesn't work. If it's wet, it doesn't work. That one's, the band sprayer is a little bit more flexible. We can go in, as long as it's not sopping wet and blowing a gale, we can use that whenever. So chemical free, but a more practical backup. We haven't, ideally I'd get someone else out here with the irrigator to pull it out, but we haven't got, unless we can do it with the Manitou, I don't think we'll be able to. Because we're open for May half term at the moment, we've got the tractors tied up on the tractor and trailer ride, so we can't even use that to pull it out. It's all tricky balancing all these things. So this is the second year we've grown them up here, so the weed burden will start to creep up now, so we need to be very careful about what we do. I think it's about 7.5 hectares, maybe 7 if you take, because we put sweet corn up in that bit there, maybe 7 if you take that out. So quite a big area. I think that's 14 acres or something like that. Yeah. Trying to put it in football pitches, lots of football pitches. What is a football pitch? Can't remember. Is it 14 football pitches then? Something like that. Lots and lots. So the next thing is we'll probably be not fertilizer. The next thing we'll be doing is putting the irrigator on. Then we'll probably be looking at the steerage hoe to go through and get up any new emerged weeds in a couple of weeks. Then we'll start using the band sprayer. So this is our band sprayer. So this goes on the back of the tractor and then goes between the rows. So this is what we'll start using after the steerage hoe. And the spray nozzles are hidden inside those, and that stops the wind blowing the chemical onto the pumpkins and killing them. So we can reduce the amount of hoeing that we have to do by hand later on. Look at that tractor going up the field. That is, do you know what, it's so satisfying. I know it's going very slowly, but from a farming point of view, it is working. and that is a nice feeling. And then later in the year we'll be doing fertilising, the main fertiliser. So we've got the little trickle going over here. So we've gone through what we've gone through, about 300. We zoom in over there, about 300 kilos we put on so far. So we'll probably put on another 300 or 400 across the whole field, which is not very much if you're applying what we've applied here across the whole field to get the same rate on top of the plant. So it'd be tons and tons of it. So that's going straight onto the plant, straight into the seeds as they need it. Much more efficient, much better use of the fertiliser. So that's really nice. And then we will do with the top, like a top dressing, a couple of top dressings later on. We've got a mix. We've got a compound fertiliser, so that's like NP and K, nitrogen, potassium, phosphate. That'll go on. There's some sulphur in there as well, and a few other macronutrients. They'll go on later in the later in June, end of June. That macronutrient compound mix will go on. Then we'll have a top dressing later on in August, early August, to really just get them as they're going nice and big, if they grow. Because that's always a thing with farming. You can make all these wonderful plans, but it can all go terribly wrong. That will be, with some fertilising, will be the main growth stages, or main growth jobs that need doing. There'll be some fungicides to go on later in the year as well. That stops them rotting out in the middle of the field, which always sucks if you see that. We spend, I don't know, what was last year, 4 or 5 grand on fungicides, might even be a bit more, which is a bit scary. But versus the amount that would rot out in the field, it's quite small. So worth it. I guess correct maths in how much we put into this now is we're probably spending 20 grand to get this crop in, look after it, in the hope that there'll be some pumpkins at the end of it, which is a scary figure by the time you've put in everything. That's right until the end of the season. So that's fertiliser, irrigation, all of the labour for this field, and then we'll see what comes out at the end of it. Hopefully we get some pumpkins for you guys to enjoy. Yeah, there we go. Shall we just look at that again? That has taken many years to get. I first started thinking about GPS and the new tractor about 10 years ago. GPS became more serious in the last 5 years when you could put these aftermarket kits on, because before that it was silly money. Yeah, it's come along a long way, and that's I know everyone's banging on about China at the moment, but it's a Chinese kit, fairly well translated, but some of the manual needed a little bit left to be desired, but generally pretty good. If I can do it, anyone can, surely. The guys are just off the break now. It's time for a cup of tea, which is probably a good time to wrap up this video. With those straight lines behind me like that, look at that. Fab. Nice to talk to you all. Any questions about this, leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to you. I'll see you again soon.